Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Tech Talk Education. I'm Alex, and joining me today is Lucy. How's it going, Lucy?
Hey Alex, I'm doing great, thanks. Excited for today's topic, changes in education through technology. It's a big one, right?
Well, definitely. I mean, it's impossible to ignore how much tech is shaking up education these days. Just look at online learning platforms like Coursera, edX, and Udemy. Now, students can take courses from top universities without even leaving their homes.
Yeah, exactly. It's made education so much more accessible, especially for people who might not have had those opportunities otherwise. I mean, you can be in a remote part of the world and study anything you want, just with an internet connection.
Totally. And then there's AI, which is also playing a huge role in education. AI is being used to personalize learning. Adaptive learning systems can even adjust the difficulty of content based on a student's performance. It's like having a personal tutor who tailors everything to your needs.
Right. But of course, there are concerns. One of the big ones is the digital divide. Not all students have access to the same tech resources, which makes things tricky when it comes to equal opportunities.
Yeah, and that's a real problem. If some students can't even get reliable internet, they're going to be at a huge disadvantage. And, honestly, as much as I love the convenience of all this tech, it's important to think about how it could reduce face-to-face interactions in classrooms. Social skills and collaboration. Those are huge parts of education too.
That's definitely something to consider. It's all about balance. But looking ahead, the future of education might be pretty amazing. Virtual reality and augmented reality, for instance. Can you imagine students feeling like they're physically there in a historical event or exploring scientific phenomena in VR?
Oh, for sure. I think in the next decade, we'll see a lot more of that. Students could have these totally immersive learning experiences, and AI-powered chatbots will be helping students with their questions instantly, which would make learning much more dynamic and responsive. For learning languages, it will also be amazing. English learners, for example, could find themselves, virtually, in the streets of London interacting with AI-powered characters, practicing their English skills.
It's all so exciting. But the big challenge is making sure everyone has access to these technologies, right? If we're not careful, we could actually make the gap wider instead of closing it.
Yeah, the digital divide is a huge issue. It's not just about having the tech. It's about making sure all students, regardless of their background, can benefit from these advancements. We really need to address that if we want to make tech a tool for equality.
Totally. So let's speculate a bit about the future. How far do you think tech is going to go in transforming education over the next 10 years? Could VR and AR replace traditional classrooms?
That's an interesting one. I think VR will definitely play a bigger role, but I don't think it'll completely replace face-to-face learning. There's something irreplaceable about that human connection in classrooms. Not to mention, in the case of children, the importance of interacting with other children at school. But for remote learning, or for specialized subjects, VR could absolutely revolutionize the way we learn.
Yeah, I agree. It won't replace everything, but it will enhance things for sure. And speaking of enhancing learning, let's talk about the pros and cons of all this technology. What do you think are the biggest advantages?
Well, online platforms, AI and VR, have really made education more accessible, flexible, and personalized. You can learn at your own pace, wherever you want, and the material can be customized just for you. It's also made education much more global.
The flexibility is huge. But on the flip side, do you think there are any disadvantages to relying so much on tech for education?
Well, yeah. I think one of the risks is that it could impact face-to-face interactions, as mentioned. If students are too reliant on tech, it might affect their ability to collaborate and develop social skills. And, there's also the concern with screen time and how it affects attention spans, especially for younger students.
Yeah, definitely something to think about. So, about teachers. How do you think tech is going to change their role in the classroom?
I've heard someone say that AI would take all the jobs away from teachers. But I believe it's more a case of teachers who use AI will take the jobs of teachers. I think teachers will still be essential, but their role will change. They'll be more like facilitators, guiding students through the learning process, while AI handles the repetitive stuff, like grading.
Well, that's an interesting take. And I see what you mean. Teachers who embrace these technologies to assist them and their students will definitely have an advantage. They can use AI to improve the learning experience, but still focus on the human side. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and all that good stuff.
Exactly. It's all about blending tech with the human touch. So, Lucy, do you think traditional classrooms will eventually become obsolete because of all this tech?
I don't think so, Alex. I mean, tech is great, but there's still a need for that in-person connection. I think we'll see more hybrid models, where tech and face-to-face learning complement each other. That way, students can benefit from the best of both worlds.
I completely agree. Well, that's all we have for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe for more tech and education insights. Catch you next time.